Good day to everyone. My name is Charles. At this time, let's talk about the facts about Mandarin and Chinese culture that you didn't know. Let's get started. Facts about Mandarin and Chinese culture that you didn't know. Number 1. Chinese is the native language for well over 1 billion people. Etnologue puts the number of global Chinese speakers at a little over 1.3 billion, and for many of these Chinese is their native language. Considering that there are currently 7.7 billion people in the world, that means 1 in 6 people speak a Chinese dialect. Number 2. Chinese is spoken in 13 countries. It may not always be the number 1 native of official choice in those countries, but for 13 countries, Mandarin Chinese is a widely spoken language. Number 3. A red envelope or red packet usually means money and luck. If you receive a red envelope in China, it is probably filled with a gift or money. Red envelopes are usually presented at family gatherings, weddings, and during the New Year, especially for older to younger and unmarried family members. The bride, red symbolizes good luck, and it is also to ward of evil spirits. Red is also the color of many Chinese New Year decorations, almost literally painting the town red to celebrate. Number 4. Chinese New Year never happens on 1st of January. Chinese New Year falls early in each New Year, but it can also happen at any point from early January to the late of February, as it is calculated according to the lunar calendar in 2019. It was on the 5th of February, but in 2020 it will be celebrated earlier on the 25th of January. Number 5. Chinese New Year is also known as the Spring Festival. Even late February is hardly spring in the northern hemisphere, but the spring element relates more to greetings a new year than the season itself. It also heralds a time of renewal, of planting crops, new life, and a clean slate. Number 6. Mandarin is the most popular Chinese dialect. Mandarin is only of the several Chinese dialects, but it is certainly the most popular. 70% of Chinese speakers speak Mandarin Chinese, and it is also the lingua franca or common language that will help you buy in any part of China. Number 7. Mandarin Chinese is not the official language in Hong Kong nor in Macau. Many people who speak good Cantonese can understand Mandarin. To some extent at least, the sum is not true both ways. Mandarin speaker may have difficulty understanding the more complex of Cantonese dialect. However, Mandarin Chinese is still the most useful Chinese language to learn due to its sheer popularity. Number 8. Delicious dim sum can in the cutest form. Feast your eyes on and fill your bellies with these tasty bite-sized Chinese delicacies. Technically, they are the Cantonese treat, but they can be found across China. Traditionally, dim sum such as dumplings and pork dumps may seem familiar, but the trend for cute dim sum has not exploded in Hong Kong and Macau. Look out for the cutest variations on dim sum, from swans to hedgehogs or frogs to aliens. Number 9. Being tone deaf can cause problem when learning Mandarin. Mandarin has 5 tones, 4 main tones, and a neutral tone. Some words look the same and are spelled the same, but it is the tone on the key letter that distinguish them. If you get the tone wrong, You could confuse words such as mother and horse quite easily. Oops. Number 10. Mandarin is the Chinese major language in Southern Asian country. Around 40 million Chinese people live outside China, many around 30 million in the other Asian country. For example, Mandarin Chinese is the widely spoken in Indonesia, Vietnam, and Malaysia.
To continue with the Mandarin language, culture, and tradition, allow me to introduce myself first. My name is Khalil Ramos and I'm about to tell you more, starting with the humble fortune cookie is actually a Japanese treat. Somehow, the fortune cookie has become a quite essential element of an authentic Chinese meal, and yet it is anything but authentic, originating instead in Japan, and fortune cookies then arrived in San Francisco and eventually became synonymous with Chinese cuisine in America. Mandarin is the official language in 3 countries. Obviously, it is the official language of the People's Republic of China, but it is also the official language in Taiwan and Singapore. Mandarin Chinese is now the #1 dialect in New York's Chinatown. New York has one of the largest and oldest Chinatowns outside of China, and for a long time, it was dominated by Cantonese speakers. However, as time has passed away and new arrivals have entered the city, Mandarin has become the principal lingua franca that connects Chinese speakers across New York's Chinese community. Once upon a time, epic tales are written from top right to bottom left. Traditionally, Chinese was written vertically from top to bottom, right to left, so you would start in the top right of your page and finish in the bottom left. However, the influence of Western words and languages has led to a shift towards more familiar and horizontal left to right writing. There are approximately 50,000 written Chinese characters. Before you panic, it is worth nothing that only a few thousand of these are in regular use, and simplified Chinese characters are now commonly used to teach Mandarin Chinese. Still baffled by Chinese characters? Get familiar with pinyin. Pinyin is a Latinized version of Mandarin Chinese, so it may be easier to make sense of when you start learning Mandarin. Pinyin uses diacritics to denote the tones of different words, so it can also help with correct pronunciation and comprehension. Time for a deep sigh of relief. Game playing is for all ages in China. If you go for a walk in China or any nearby Chinatown, you may discover 2 of the most popular low-key Chinese pastimes: Chinese chess and mahjong. These games are more popular among the elderly, but they are fascinating to watch at any age. Far more complex and entertaining than Candy Crush, although maybe not as easy to play on a London tube train. Chop suey is American, not Chinese. The story around this old-school American favorite is not rooted in ancient Chinese history. During the 1840s San Francisco gold rush, a few of the Chinese laborers were hungry late one night. They asked a tired chef for something to eat, so he threw together all the leftovers he could find and served it to them. Swimming in soy sauce, they loved it, and so a classic piece of American was born. The Mid-Autumn Moon Festival is almost as important as Chinese New Year. Chinese New Year may light the streets up with bright and bold lanterns and festive celebrations, but the calmer Moon Festival, held on the 15th day of the 8th month of the lunar calendar, is another important time in China. It is a harvest festival, and one of the key traditions is the sharing and eating of mooncakes, which are sweet pastries filled with lotus seed or sweet bean paste. Understanding Chinese culture can enhance your language learning experience dramatically. Cross-cultural communication can be a challenge, especially when you are learning a language, but picking on the nuances of Chinese culture should help you connect more deeply to the people you meet on your travels and in your working life. Look for opportunities to embrace Chinese culture and share it with others as you learn the language.
The facts that make Mandarin the most fascinating language. Number 1. It's a very popular language. It's no secret that Mandarin is a pretty big deal, not just in Asia, but around the world. Accounting for 70% of Chinese speakers, Mandarin is more widely spoken than any other form of Chinese. With some 955 million native speakers globally, that's 14% of the world's total population. In fact, There are more native Mandarin speakers in the world than speakers of any other language. Number 2. Mandarin is one of several Chinese dialects. Mandarin is just one of several Chinese dialect groups, which can be kind of confusing. In places like Taiwan and People's Republic of China is the official language. Mandarin dialects are spoken throughout most of the northern southwestern China. Despite their similarities, some Mandarin dialects are actually not mutually intelligible. Other varieties of Chinese including Wu, Xiang, Yu, Min, Hakka, and Gan. Number 3. Mandarin started developing 1,000 years ago. While written Chinese began to take shape around 4,000 years ago, Mandarin started to develop in the 10th and 11th centuries in northern China. This old Mandarin came from local dialects in the North China Plain. The new dialect actually spurred a new genre of common literature. Number 4. Chinese uses 50,000 different characters. Compared to the 26-letter English alphabet, Chinese sounds downright impossible to learn. Instead of an alphabet, Chinese uses characters that symbolize a syllable of spoken Chinese. Each character could include parts that represent abstract notions, physical objects, and pronunciation. Although there are several thousand characters in the complete language. Every day, Mandarin typically uses a set of some 2,500 characters. Number 5. Mandarin didn't always go side to side. Written Chinese has a fascinating history, dating back to the Shang Dynasty in 1200 or 1050 BC up until 1955. The language was written in a vertical columns, going from right to left. Since then, the People's Republic of China has westernized the written language so that it is written left to right horizontally. Number 6. Mandarin uses 4 different tones. Another added challenge to learning Chinese is that tone affects the meaning of different words. That's because Chinese is a tonal language. Mandarin has 4 different tones including flat, rising, falling, then rising and falling. There are other Chinese dialects that use as many as 9 distinct tones. 7. Mandarin is become even more popular. As the world became increasingly globalized, Mandarin has become a top language to study around the world, and at every level, starting as early as kindergarten, schools in the West are teaching students Mandarin, gearing up for increased business relations with China. It's never too early to start learning such a widespread language.
Chinese culture short introduction. Officially, there are 56 recognized ethnic groups in China, with Han Chinese being the largest. Many ethnic groups, through merge into Han identity, have maintained distinct cultural traditions. Miao minorities speak different dialects of the Hmong-Mei languages, Tai Kadai languages, and Chinese. Religion Confucianism and Taoism, later joined by Buddhism, constitute the 3 teachings that have shaped Chinese culture. Folk or popular religion has evolved and adapted since at least Shang and Zhou dynasties. Recent surveys estimated that some 80% of Han Chinese practice some kind of Chinese folk religion. Traditional Chinese medicine is built on a foundation of more than 2,500 years of Chinese medication.
Mandarin Chinese is spoken in 13 countries, with about 909 million speaking it as their first language. Some argue that learning Mandarin Chinese will help you understand your counterparts from China. Others argue that there is no need to learn the language because its speakers are not as globally dispersed as other languages. Many corporations trading with China or having offices in China are looking for people who can speak Mandarin. Employment opportunities are bigger. Whether a person would be hard to handle for the foreign business section of the company. Native speakers who are also Mandarin Chinese speakers are rare, which is why they are in great demand. Chinese in the tonal language and learning the tones may present some problems. It does not have complex honorific grammar like in Japanese and Korean languages. Computer-assisted learning is a very good option because you can learn at your own pace in your own time.